Hello students, this video is about ethical considerations in human rights practice. In this video, we will see that how ethics are important in applying the human rights-based approach in practice, because unless and until the nations and the countries do not adhere to certain ethical guidelines, they will forfeit the whole philosophy of human rights. Since we know that human rights are only legally enforceable when they get ratified by the respective countries. So they are more like obligation than a legal binding instrument on the nation. So we will see that how different groups are affected if the nations do not adhere to the ethical guidelines. Talking about when this idea of human rights started, basically it started, or in the recent history started in 1948 when United Nations were formed after Second World War. The whole idea or the whole concept of human rights came into existence as we see it in the present form. But if we talk about the historical facts, it was as early as 2015 when Magna Carta instrument was brought into existence in United Kingdom, which talked about the rights of common people. Before that, justice was arbitrary. It was more in favor of royals. It was more favoring those who got it from their lineage. It was more in favor of those who were supposed to be exceptionally blessed by gods by virtue of their birth. So, human rights versus divine rights of the kings was a cause of debate amongst philosophers and thinkers for a very long time. In this, the contribution of John Locke is very important because he propagated and advocated for human rights for every citizen. His views influenced the people a lot because he said that by virtue of being human, everybody has certain natural rights, and even the kings cannot take away or infringe upon the natural rights of people. Though we also see that there are many philosophers who also criticize the idea of human rights, and in this we can name a few like Jeremy Bentham. We know that Jeremy Bentham was in favor of utilitarianism, and for him to talk about individual at the cost of collective was not a very feasible idea. So after the French Declaration of Rights, it was felt that rights would not maximize utility and the nations would not benefit much by individual human rights. So he came up with the idea of nonsense on stilts, and this particular publication meant or gave the direction that rights were meaningless unless they were legally enforceable. So there was pressure on the governments to protect the country from this wave of individual rights, because that would definitely be against the collective interest of the nation, or to be more clear about it, collective interest of the nobles or royals. However, he said that few rights are absolute and they are so strong that nobody can deny or undermine them in the democratic. In the present form, human rights put an obligation on the state, and they put a limit on the powers of the state within they can interfere in the freedom or rights of a particular individual, but they can never take away the human rights of any individual. So rights can also be categorized. Some are absolute, like right not to be held in slavery is an absolute right, and the nation or the state or the government cannot take it away. Some rights are qualified. That means you qualify for those rights when you fulfill certain responsibility or duty. For example, the right to liberty. So if you have not done anything against the law or you have not harmed any person, you cannot be put into detention. But if you have done anything otherwise, which is hampering the interest of other person, the state can take control of your freedom and put you in detention. And some other rights like social, economical, cultural require the state to strive to achieve them. It is the responsibility of the state to provide those rights to the citizens. So, in the present form, the human rights are universal, inalienable, indivisible, and they are also interdependent. We can also talk about natural versus conventional rights. Natural rights are those rights which are the right of the individual by virtue of their being born as humans, whereas conventional rights are those rights which are framed by the government and they have the legal sanction for them. But natural rights, even if they do not have sanction of the legislation, nobody can take away them from any individual. Rights can also be positive rights and right can also be negative rights. For positive rights, it is the responsibility of the government to enforce them, to provide an opportunity to people to have access to them. Whereas negative rights are concerned, the state has to restrict itself by not interfering in those rights, like right to freedom and expression. If you remember, Rousseau has also talked about the social contract in which we enter into a contract with the government. We give away certain rights in return of certain duties that the government is supposed to perform in our favor. So, talking about John Locke or Jeremy Bentham or Rousseau, we see that rights have gone through a journey and in which there is a responsibility of a party, whereas it is the obligation of the other party to enforce those rights. But it is also clear to us that rights are not easily accessible by everyone. There are certain groups of people who do not have access to those rights, and it becomes really crucial to keep a check on the governments whether they are providing certain rights to the people of their country or not, or all people of their country or not, or if they are indulging into some kind of discrimination or hampering any of the positive and negative right of the people of the country so as to serve the benefit of the larger class. We can see the category of persons who get hampered by the related violation carried on by countries. So, discrimination amongst persons can happen on the basis of their religion, ethnicity, race, or gender. Discrimination can also take place with patients, and this can be done by the health authorities. Discrimination can be carried out against refugees who come to other countries to take shelter and get protected by the threats that they have there in own country. Since the word is towards globalization, so lot many global companies set up their businesses in other countries, particularly underdeveloped countries. So many a times human rights violation is also carried out because they are not directly governed by the law of the country. Foreign nationals can also have their violation of rights. Victims of wars face all kinds of discrimination and violation of rights. And the subjects who participate in research, they are also subject to violation of rights. So health, if you talk about how patients are impacted, how the rights of patients are impacted, so we see here that WHO says that the highest attainable standard of health is a fundamental right of every human being. It is the obligation of the states to ensure that right to health is accessible to all people of the country, and because of the reason of poverty or lack of access or gender, they are not prevented from having access to health. Remember, it is directly infringing upon the right to life if people do not get access to the health facility, that too on timely basis. So the right to health must be enjoyed without discrimination on the grounds of caste, race, ethnicity, or any other status. But we know that the treatment in various countries is so costly that people are not able to afford it. So patients, if you talk about directly patients consent is absolutely essential when we talk about clinical research. So the important consideration is that experiment should be conducted in a manner that avoids unnecessary physical and mental suffering or injury. And special protection is required for mentally retarded patients or those who are suffering from mental problems like Alzheimer or dementia. In that case, the consent of their guardians is very important, because if we do not adhere to the rights of patients, we are completely violating their right to life, right to health, right to privacy, right to confidentiality, right to autonomy and decision making, right to information, right to decide the number and spacing of children. This is particularly in case of women. Right to freedom from inhumane and degrading treatment, and right to benefit from scientific progress. Ethics and human rights are also widely violated when discrimination against people is made on the basis of their religion, ethnicity, race, or gender. And very easily, governments try to reinforce their power and maintain their status quo by justifying the discrimination. Many a times, it is also ingrained in the legal provisions of the country or the ideology of the country. So, this kind of discrimination makes the social, political, and economic life of people very, very difficult and uneasy. The global companies also many a times end up into violating human rights to a great extent when it comes to transparency, forced labor, and violation of labor laws and labor abuses. In fact, environment degradation is also a very big issue because many multinationals are set up in poor countries, in underdeveloped countries, so as to secure the environment of the host country. If you talk about war victims, they are also very they are also forced to suffer in many ways when it comes to their human rights. In fact, their all human rights are violated. Their right to life, liberty is snatched away. Their freedom of thought and expression is also not permitted to them, and they do not have equal treatment before the law. So it is very important to take account of the rights of war victims who are not direct participants in the war, but by virtue of their being at that place where armed conflict is carried on, they have to suffer a lot. So they need to be saved or protected from slavery, cruelty, or torture, and their rights, both positive as well as negative, need to be protected because states do not give account to their rights when it comes to war. A lot of people suffer when it is war. We know that Second World War caused so many casualties, and so is the war which is currently going on in Middle East or Syria. This is also impacting the life of lot many civilians who are not direct participants in these wars. So we can say that human rights violations can be checked, they can be stopped only when ethics are adhered to in the human right based approach, or when human rights are brought in practice. Not many organizations like Amnesty International are keeping a check on the governments, or and they are dealing with name and shame policy in which they do not hesitate in opening about the human right violations which the nations carry out. So there's a very thin line when it comes to the benefit of the larger section of the society at the cost of individuals. We as social workers have to be very vigilant and very committed, and we have to do away with all our biases and prejudices when it comes to protection of human rights, because human rights are important for each and every individual. They may not be benefiting the group or the collective as a whole, but we cannot shut our eyes even when the rights of individuals are concerned. So, ethics are important, and I hope this lecture will be beneficial to you in understanding why ethics are important in human rights and how little deviance from the perspective can lead to massive human rights violations. Thank you so much, and you can ask your questions through messages. Thank you.